It's not so much what happens to you, but how you react to it. Just a week ago, my lawn looked as good as it has ever looked for the month of March. It was green, it was striping hard, it was thick, and it was on fire. It was probably the best looking lawn I have had in the month of March, probably ever. You know, we had temperatures that were in the 80s. It was perfect growing conditions for a great looking lawn. And my plan was to carry that forward. All the way through spring into summer, I was set up for a great looking lawn all the way through summer. But as fate would have it, plans changed. And here we are today, and this is what my lawn looks like. So if you're just tuning in, earlier in the week, the gas company came out and they ran a gas line all the way to my neighbor's house. And so in today's video, I'm going to show you my process for how we're going to fix this, how we're going to get this looking the way that it should, the way that it did only a week ago. Now, would it be nice if I had a Ventrac and I could, get out the big equipment and fix this? We talked about in the last video how the guys kind of trampled through the lawn. So it's not just the damage here. There's a lot of compaction just where the guys were walking on the lawn. And yeah, it would be nice if I had the heavy equipment, if I had an aerator, a big Ventrac to come in here, but I don't. I have the same equipment that most DIYers have. My hands, a rake, a shovel, and just hard work. And so that's exactly what we're gonna do in today's video. I'm gonna walk you through the process of how we're gonna turn this around and give you some tips. So it doesn't matter if you're seeding in the spring, the fall, or anytime. The process for doing this is the exact same. Now, obviously, it is spring. We are towards the end of March, getting ready to get into the beginning of April. So I talk about this a lot on my channel. The idea here is not to spring seed. We don't want to do this. This is not ideal conditions. The most ideal condition for seeding is in the fall, because then we have all winter to let our lawn establish before it gets hot. I talked about this in the last video. We have two things that we're really worried about with this project. Number one is weeds, so we're going to address that. And then we're also worried about the heat. Grass has a root structure, and that root structure is what keeps the grass surviving and thriving through summer. So our window of time to get this grass established and get it up and get it healthy before it gets really hot is really short. So without further delay, let's get to work. I'm going to show you my process for how we're going to turn this lawn around. So if you're into that sort of thing, make sure you hit that like button, consider subscribing to the channel, because I'm going to update you guys as we go throughout this whole process. So let's get to work. All right, so the most important thing when it comes to getting down your grass seed is we got to have good seed to soil contact. Now, you could do that a couple different ways. You can either aerify your lawn, like poke holes in your lawn. You could also scarify, like rip up the ground, kind of get it opened up. Obviously, the situation I have here, the work's pretty much done for me. It's just a matter of scattering out grass seed. Now, the question becomes, how much grass seed do you use? Normally, for bare dirt, it's 6 to 8 pounds. For maybe overseeding your lawn, it's 3 to 4 pounds for tall fescue. Now, I don't know how big this area is. It doesn't really matter. What I'm going to show you is it's kind of a feel thing. I'll show you kind of what the ground, the coverage of the seed, what we're looking for. You could either do this a couple different ways. You could do the old chicken method, just kind of throw seed on the ground. With this small area, that's kind of what I want to do, is just kind of lightly toss some seed on the ground. I have that Scott's Whirl spreader. Of course, you could always use that. Not a big deal. If you have a bigger area, obviously you could use a broadcast spreader. That would work great. But for what I'm doing, we're just going to lightly throw some seed on the ground. Make sure we get it as even as possible. Again, just like we're feeding chickens. Throw it on the ground just like that. All right. So that's good. So let me bring you in a little bit closer and show you what we're looking like as far as the amount of seed that we need. And you see the seed on the ground, not too heavy, not too light. The next step is we got to get that seed worked into the ground. We can't just leave it laying on top. Now what I do is actually flip the rake over. Most people rake with the tines going down. I actually do it the other way for this, and I'm just going to lightly kind of brush it, right? We're just making sure we're getting good seed to soil contact. Okay, we just kind of pushing down, raking it over, smoothing it out, evenly broadcasting that grass seed everywhere. Okay, try not to move it around too much. You know, even this thin spot, I threw down some grass seed, went a little lighter, didn't go quite as heavy over there. Rake this up. Get some of these rocks out of here. Okay. And the seed almost kind of disappears when you do this. So this is where you got to trust that, you know, you put the right amount down. Now, we talked about the weeds. Okay, that's the easy part. Now we talk about the weeds. Because we've got bare dirt, this is an optional step, but for me, I don't want to have to fight crabgrass, which is coming, you know, Poa annua, whatever. So I'm going to use Miso 4SC, or Mesotrione is the active ingredient. Show you what that looks like. It's got a little syringe, and this is probably, I'm going to mix up about a gallon, and then I'm going to spray this over the top of it, and that'll kind of be my pre-emergent barrier. Now it'll give me about 4 to 6 weeks of pre-emergent control, which is just long enough to where it kind of hedges my bet and keeps some of the weeds down, because again, we've got open dirt. So let me mix that up. We'll get this sprayed, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, so I mixed up some Etho 4SC, and we're just going to lightly come in and just kind of spray this as if we were spraying weeds. Okay, nice light coat here. We're not going too heavy. Next step to this is another optional step, and that is, do you want to cover? Do you want to cover this seed? Now, I do not recommend using straw or hay or anything like that. I do not recommend using topsoil because we don't know what that topsoil has in it. There's only really one thing that I recommend using, and that is peat moss, and that's exactly what I'm going to use, is some peat moss. So let me go grab that, and we'll get to spreading some peat moss. All right. So peat moss makes a great cover because there's no weeds in here. And, you know, we're going to talk about watering here in just a second. And peat moss is great because it'll tell you when it needs to be watered. Really quick, I want to say thank you to you guys for all the love and support. Obviously, you know, been through a lot this week, getting all this done. So, again, wasn't an ideal situation, but sometimes in life what I've learned as I've gotten older is it's not so much what happens to you, but how you react to it. And I'll be honest, when I first kind of got the news and this was happening, I was pretty upset about it. I was kind of bummed, obviously, you know, because I said that how good my lawn was looking, and that just, you know, it kind of stinks. But the more I thought about it, the more I, you know, had time to kind of let it set in a little bit. I got to kind of thinking that, well, I can record this and I can make the best out of this situation, and hopefully somebody watches it and it helps somebody else and gives them the confidence that if something like this happens to them, that they can know that it's going to be all right. Do what? The DIY lawn coach? Yeah. Just got a new subscriber. Like I was saying, I really wasn't too happy about the situation, but if I could use what happened to maybe help somebody else, give them the confidence that when stuff like this happens that you can do it, then it makes what I'm going through that much more tolerable, worth it, I guess. And so then once I kind of changed my attitude about it, you know, it's just kind of funny how life works that way. But what we're looking for here is a nice light coat of peat moss. We don't want to go too heavy. And really with peat moss, it's kind of hard to go too heavy. But basically what this is going to do is help retain the moisture. All right, anytime I use peat moss, I always get a faster germination time, which again, we talked about what we're up against, and that is weeds and the heat. So if we can get a faster germination rate, that would be better. Now, if you were overseeding your entire lawn, I don't think you need to use peat moss because your grass, your existing grass will help protect it. But because I've got these bare areas here, we're going to use peat moss to ensure that it doesn't dry out. All right, so while we're spreading this, let's talk about what's next. And it is by far, I think I said that getting seed to soil contact was the most important. And yes, that is true. But water is the most important, because I promise you, seed will germinate without touching soil. And it won't live very long, but it will germinate. But if you don't water it, I can 1000% tell you that it's not going to germinate. So we have to keep this wet. All right, so we were talking about watering. And the question is, how long do you water? How long am I supposed to water? Well, I told you, nobody in the world can answer that question for you. Okay, and here's the reason why. Is I don't know where you live. I don't know how intense that sun is. I don't know if your seed is on bare dirt like this or if it's mixed into the grass like that. All of that, there's too many variables. Now, sure, people will tell you, oh, you water 2 or 3 minutes, 4 or 5 times a day. And that's probably a good start. But even that isn't the end all be all. Because what if you get cloud cover, right? The ground's not going to dry out. If you're watering 3 times a day and you're not getting any sunshine, you're overwatering. So the best advice I can give you for how long to water is you just gotta look at it, right? Peat moss makes it a whole lot easier because you can see how it turns kind of a black color. It was brown when we started because it's dry, and now it's black when it's wet. Right? So keep it wet, keep it moist. We don't want to keep it wet, keep it moist. You know, get out there with your finger, put your finger in it. The ground feels wet and moist, you're watering enough. If it's not, you're not. Right? So pump up the water. You know, if you get a 90-degree day, yeah, you probably want to water more. But you got to water. I mean, so many people, the reason why their project fails is because they don't water. So don't do this. If you're not going to water, don't do it. All right, so the last step, now that the seed has been taken care of. Now I'll water this, keep it wet for at least next 7 to 10 days. We'll probably get germination in about day 4 or 5, just because the weather conditions are perfect. So make sure you stay tuned and I'll show you what we're going to do as far as maybe the first mow, all that kind of stuff. So we'll wait for that to come up. But now we're going to turn our attention towards the lawn, which was under a lot of stress, right? The guys were parking their vehicles all through here. They've trampled all over it. So we're going to get this back looking good. I mean, you can see how matted the grass down is, how matted the grass is from everybody's footsteps. So what we're going to do is, first thing is I'm going to get out my backpack blower and I'm just going to kind of fluff the grass back up, right? We want to get some oxygen, some air moving through it. That'll do the grass really, really good. And then I also talked about this in the last video. Anytime you're sick, right? Like your mom always tells you to eat something, you kind of nurse a cold or eat through a cold. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to put down some food. We're going to give it a little bit of nutrition because the grass is stressed. So what better thing to give it than a little bit of food, help it, get the vitamins and nutrients that it needs to kind of recover. All right, so the only thing left is to feed it. We fluffed up the grass, and I'll be honest with you, that made a pretty big difference, especially out there where the dirt is, where they really were stomping on it. Fluffed it back up. Looks pretty good. All right, so I'm going to feed it with 1801 Green Punch. This is basically straight nitrogen, 17% urea, 1% ammoniacal, and basically almost 2% nitrate, a little bit of potash, a little bit of sulfur, a little bit of iron, a little sea kelp, a little bit of humic acid. So that's all just really, really good stuff. Label says 16 ounces per thousand. I'm actually going to go out at 8 ounces per thousand. Front lawn, 10,000. Back lawn, 10,000. I'm going to go ahead and feed the back, even though it doesn't really need it. We're going to do it anyway. So 80 ounces. I'm actually going to put this in 4 gallons of water. We're going to spray this out. I'm going to water it immediately afterwards for about 5 minutes. And then tomorrow morning, I'll actually run the irrigation for the full cycle. So we're feeding the lawn. We fluffed it up. The last thing to do is just give it some water. Like they say, milk does the body good. Well, water also does the grass good. So that's why we're going to run our irrigation. And we're really just going to kind of pump the water to it. That's really what it needs. It's got the food. It's got the water. We'll let the Mother Nature sunlight take care of the rest, and everything's going to be back to normal before too long. So if you want to follow along, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll be posting updates as well on the new grass as we go along. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support. Again, hate that this happened, but hopefully it helps you out. Peace. Now we can get rid of these stupid flags. I don't like these things anyway. They're always bad news.